Welcome back to another episode of Inspired Voices. My name is Oliver Riera. I am here today with Adam Song, MMA trainer, entrepreneur.
True.
Making it happen.
Trying.
Let's take it back, man. Actually, you know what? Go ahead and tell everyone exactly what you do.
Okay.
Now.
Okay. I stay busy. Very busy.
There it is. All right, moving on. No, go ahead.
I've got a wonderful job during the week, Tuesday through Friday. I work for some rental properties. I'm the office manager. It's a great job, great bosses. Mm-hmm. On the weekend, I have a humble shop where I was very, very fortunate to meet this man right here. This guy, we really clicked. Got a chance to meet him. You know, he's cool. And also, I'm a mixed martial arts coach. I do that 4 or 5 nights a week, depending on who shows up. And that's pretty much it.
Cool. So, awesome, man. That's a lot of stuff. I love the hunger I see on your online, your social media, and all that stuff. It's nice to see. So let's take it all the way back.
Sure.
You are from where?
Well, I was born here. I was born in Durham, North Carolina.
Okay.
I moved to Virginia when I was 5, and I moved back here to this area around Cary, maybe back in when I was in middle school. But my father immigrated here from Taiwan. Very, very traditional Taiwanese guy. Yeah. Ex-military, ex-combatives instructor for his battalion.
Yeah.
And my mother is white American from Irish and Native American roots. So a lot of people look at me, they're like...
Was she from here?
Yes.
Okay.
But a lot of people look at me and they're like, is that guy Asian? Is that guy Hispanic?
Yeah.
I hear this all the time.
Yeah.
Hola, amigo, ¿cómo está? And I usually answer,
You hear Spanish?
Yeah, all the time.
What?
I don't know, especially if I'm wearing sunglasses, they can't see the eyes.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
So I answer, I'm like...
I do know a lot of Asians in like Venezuela.
Oh, really?
I went to a thing with Venezuelans gathering up, and this Asian came up to me and was like, "Hola, amigo, ¿cómo estás?" And he's like, "Whoa, I did not expect that." But yeah, it's a common thing now.
Usually Asians, they have a real talent for language. Like when I was in school, I loved to study. I learned a little everything, but literature wasn't my greatest subject. Math wasn't my greatest subject.
Same.
But I loved languages. I love stuff like studying religion, world history, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I guess I was like...
I think for me, it was more of accents. I loved accents more than the actual language because that was easier to do.
Right. Well, it's cool. I can definitely tell. I knew that you were Hispanic, but by your last name, I asked one of my best friends in the world, Osvaldo Bastida, he was originally from Mexico, and I said, have you ever heard of the apellido Riera? And I said, Rivera? I said, no, Riera. He said, I've never heard that last name before.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people think it's everyone. They look at my last name on a piece of paper and they still say Riviera. Mm-hmm. I'm like, there's no V in it. Why are you saying that?
I thought it was probably somewhere around that area of South America because I know a lot of Brazilians have Hispanic last names, but just a little different.
Yeah. I think my dad told me that my last name down there is pretty famous. There's like a few famous people in the family that I don't know about because my dad cut ties with the family, so I have no idea. But apparently there's like famous painters and artists and stuff like that. I was like, oh, okay.
You're still young. You got plenty of time to study your family history and delve into it. So
awesome, man. Thank you so much for being here. No, absolutely.
It's my pleasure. I was excited about this whole weekend.
Yeah. Nice. So you grew up here. You grew up here.
Yes.
So how was it growing up with a parent, I guess just one parent that's foreign?
Yes. Very, very difficult.
Especially like military dad, right?
Yes. My father was, well, let me rephrase. I'm a lot like my father. I don't want to say my father's like me. I'm like my father.
Okay.
And he is always working, and I remember growing up from like ages 8 to 14, I saw him about 1 day a week just because he was working so much. So it's weird being half Asian. I'm sure it's like this in other cultures as well, but most Asians look down upon me like, why isn't your Mandarin Chinese fluent? Why don't you do this? Why don't you dress a certain way? Why aren't you a doctor?
Were you forced to do that growing up as a kid?
Well, fortunately, my martial arts kind of gave me an Asian identity. I mean, I don't know an Asian kid who, I mean, it's a stereotype, but stereotypes exist for a reason.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
You see an Asian kid and you ask him if he studies martial arts, probably the answer is yes.
Yeah.
So, fortunately, I had that, and but yeah, I always, especially when I grew up in Virginia when I was very young, it was a little bit weird. People would look at me and they'd be like, "Where are you from?" And then adults now look at me, especially when I grow out my beard. You can see like red and gold in my beard, and just the fact that I can grow a full beard. And most Asians like a little bit here, Fu Manchu. You know,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
That Fu Manchu.
That's right. So for Caucasians, they see me, I'm very Asian. For Asians, they see me very white, and a lot of Mexicans just accept me for like their Hispanic brother.
We'll always accept you, bro.
Thank you, man.
Cool, man. So, what did you get from your dad specifically? Because growing up with my dad, I'm first generation.
Oh, wow.
So, growing up, it was such a pressure to do good, to do something big in this world and stuff like that, right? And it still is.
Right.
But growing up, seeing my dad every single day, he's a professional bass player.
Oh,
I
wow.
see him every single day just practicing, and never took a day off. I think maybe twice in 5 years he took a day off.
That's excellent.
And so I get my work ethic from him. Would you say that's the same for you with your dad?
Do we have the same father?
I think so, maybe. And my dad wasn't in the military either, but
Right.
he treated us and worked like he was in the military.
Maybe they were separated twins at birth.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I assume so.
But yeah, the same thing. My father, he was I hated, some moments I hated the way my father was so hard on me and pushed me so hard to, do well in school, do well in martial arts.
Yeah.
His famous expression, to compete is to win. If I'm going to compete in something, whether it be a science fair or a geography bee or a martial arts tournament, he wanted me to win. And I could
Right.
see the disappointment in my eyes. And I was like, God, it's hard. But now as an adult, I really, really appreciate that he was hard on me, because I see a lot of people my age. You look younger than me. How old are you?
I'm 32.
32. Yeah, so I'm about 5 years older than he is. So young looking man. But yeah, I mean, just absolutely, I have a good work ethic, and because of that, I see a lot of my friends, kind of living the same life they did 20 years ago. I always want to continue to improve. Very much how your father was. The Japanese philosophy is no matter what you do, whether you're a maintenance guy, whether you cut grass for a living or you paint houses, if you are the best at what you do and you strive to do that in life, you will be successful.
Yeah.
So that's what I try to do every day. It's a
Agreed.
little harder. It's a little hard some days, but
Yeah, of course it's hard some days. I mean, for me, it's like I feel like I would have had that entrepreneur hunger to work every day without taking a day off and not complaining and all this stuff, that comes with it. But my parents wanted me to do the traditional route, so I was kind of forced into this traditional box where I wanted to get out and just be creative and be my own person, but I wasn't able to. And I felt like I wasn't allowed to.
Right.
So now that I'm older and I'm finally finding myself, now I'm taking my own route and thinking, man, I wish I could have done this years ago, but everything happens for a reason and stuff.
That's
like
right. I was actually going to say then you should thank your father for putting you in that box,
Yeah.
for wanting you to do something hard, because that also made you want to take your own route. You might not have been here today if he was light with you.
Yeah,
So
that's definitely true. Absolutely.
so it kind of forged your path for you.
Yeah, yeah.
that's
And I told him that. I was like, man, thank you for everything you've done. Like, even the hard times, and because me and my dad never got along.
Right.
Ever. I mean, it was bad. But I thanked him because it made me who I am.
Absolutely.
Cool, man. So you're a martial artist. Did you get in a lot of fights when you grew up?
It was very, very difficult for me. I'm the whopping 5'5" tall right now.
Nice.
But at least now I got like a little muscle, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But when I was a little kid, when I was 10, I was like 4 feet tall. And I remember going to school, and especially when I moved here I live in Cary, moved to Cary, and we grew up rather poor. So I was wearing Kmart clothes with some generic shoes, and the popular white kids kind of looked at me like, "Who's this little guy? Who's this little twerp?"
Yeah.
So yeah, it was
Were
a
you
little
scrawny
difficult.
too?
Yes,
As a
yes,
kid, yeah.
I was like 70, 80 pounds when I started middle school. I was
Nice.
a tiny guy, but yeah, definitely that kind of influenced my martial arts.
Mhm.
I
How many fights did you get into?
Street fights.
Street
I
fights.
don't remember. So many, quite
So
a few,
many.
quite a few. But I never wanted to hurt my opponent. You know, I never wanted to like make him bleed. I just wanted him to stop picking on me, kind of
okay.
thing.
Yeah.
But as soon as someone puts their hands on me, then it's game on.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do.
That's right.
That's awesome, man. I mean, you gotta protect yourself. So,
That's right.
did you lose any fights?
I would say so.
Yeah.
Usually bigger guys, and that's kind of actually what got me into mixed martial arts. I've always studied martial arts since I remember the Gracie family. They always said, "Oh, we train our kids since they were toddlers." I remember when I was an infant, my father was playing around with a little boxing, with me, that kind of thing. So, I did that. I did the traditional martial arts route with Shotokan Karate. I have a brown belt in Shotokan Karate, a black belt in Taekwondo, a black belt in Hapkido. But those really don't mean all that much in a real fight. I kind of discovered that along the way.
Right.
So I got into wrestling when I was in high school. I got into a little kickboxing. And then in 1999, I found mixed martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden I was winning fights. So
Nice.
it's really cool. The martial arts for me have been a lifesaver
Yeah.
through all kinds of
Not
adversity.
just as a survival.
Right,
But-
right.
yeah.
I mean, just whenever anyone has a problem in general, I got a problem with my girlfriend, my wife, my kids are driving me crazy, work is hard, whatever. If you can find something passionate that you can be about, it doesn't have to be martial arts. It can be what you do.
Mm-hmm.
It can be what the cameraman right here is doing.
Yeah.
I mean, you do the best, and you find something you're passionate about. You center yourself.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's one thing that I absolutely love about martial arts is the balance. I remember I trained for 3 years in MMA, and I was really balanced, and then I stopped for almost a year, and then I started again. And when I started again, my balance was off, man. It was just not there. And then 2 weeks later, after training, I finally felt like I was
Excellent.
balanced
Fell
again.
back into place. Right?
Yeah. And it feels so good. It feels like it's just like not just the confidence level that you get, but I don't know, it's like a balance in life between going hard and, staying sensitive and, really going with your heart. So it's like a yin yang feeling of balance that you get.
Absolutely. I mean, it's people, I think, in the United States very, very much undervalue martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool. A lot of people like basketball, football, soccer, hockey, whatever. And those are great. I mean, that gives you also skill and, brotherhood with the people that you're training with.
Yeah.
But nothing gives you as much back as martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you fitness. It gives you camaraderie with your team. It keeps you in incredible shape, incredibly flexible, keeps your mind sharp, gives you something to teach to someone else. And of course, it teaches you how to be aware of your surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also really great because obviously you learn how to fight.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I really, really enjoy it.
That's right. That's good, man.
If I could stop you for 1 second, I told him that I had a little special present for him. So I was trying.
Oh, we're
been
doing
trying to
this?
hide
We're
it
doing
underneath
this?
My
It's been
shirt
bugging
here.
you, right?
Yeah. I wanted to give it to him when I walked in the door. Okay. This is a white belt. This is the most important belt in any martial art. Everyone wants their black belt. The black belt is just a milestone. But being able to don a white belt in whatever kind of martial art that you study is very, very important. So this is a symbol for you, but at the same time, this is an invitation and a lifetime membership at my humble MMA gym, Ringlords Vale Tudo. You can come by and train anytime for free.
Damn.
That's for you.
Thank you,
You're welcome,
man.
friend.
Wow. Dude, that means a lot. Thank you so
Of
much.
course.
What does it say? This belt serves as an invite to a lifetime membership to train. Okay, what you just said. All right.
I was writing it on the way here. I was like, in traffic. What do I want to say?
Thank you so much, man. That means a lot.
You're welcome.
That's awesome.
You're most welcome.
That's a cool gift. Let's take that right there. All right, cool, man. So talking about self-awareness.
Yes.
I think that self-awareness is the foundation to living a successful life. And a lot of people don't, I wouldn't say a lot of people, most people, I don't know. A lot of people don't have that self-awareness, and there's not really, I don't know of a way to teach self-awareness. I think I know of two.
I'm
But
interested to hear what he has to say here.
one of them is through martial arts,
Right.
because you do have that self-awareness. The other one is obviously something that I do is as an actor. You're learning these characters and what they do, why they do it. And so that's why you go train as an actor, because you try and see, it's basically reliving life. You're learning how to live life on a specific detailed moment. So why does he take this belt and put it down over here the way he does? Was it because it could be because of numerous reasons, but that self-awareness is key, I think, to living a successful life. What do you think about that?
I agree, and that's very profound. And really, through I kind of discussed about martial arts being undervalued. Let me rephrase: the arts are very underappreciated, whether they be visual arts, acting, singing, dancing, street performing. What's that one group called? The Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah.
When I watch that, I'm like, this is amazing. People can do this kind of stuff with their body, and they can please everyone, and everyone in that theater has a smile on their face, and they leave happy, and they can maybe say, wow, they must have trained really hard for that.
Yeah.
And maybe they go to work the next day, and maybe they do a little bit better job at their office job. Maybe they kind of say, that was really interesting. Maybe I could take a gymnastics class and maybe get into it. But sometimes it takes years, sometimes it takes a lifetime, and then sometimes people will never find themselves.
Yeah.
And they just kind of exist like lemmings in life and just, go day to day and, do whatever, eat some food, and next day comes and it's just a cycle.
Yeah.
But we only have one life, and it's very, very short. We never know how short it could be.
Yeah.
So
It's very true. And especially if you've been through death, like, death of a loved one, you really start to put things into perspective,
Right.
about how short life can be.
Right. And a lot of people, they just watch the news or they watch a movie and they're like, okay, that someone's dead, but it didn't happen to me. It's
Yeah.
not going to happen to me,
Right.
kind of thing. But every day, kind of like the samurai would always think, I could die. They would wake up thinking, today could be my last day on the earth. They would go into battle saying, well, I'm probably going to die today. And because of that, a lot of people say, well, that's crazy. Do you have a death wish? No, they have a life wish. They actually want to see, feel, and do everything the best of their ability, at the same time while being humble, striving for something. And then if they get killed, then at least they were prepared.
That's cool, man. I think the reason people think they don't have as much respect for the arts is because they only see the cherry on top.
Right.
So
Yes.
they don't see what's underneath. They don't really see the detail, the depth of what the arts can really bring,
Right.
besides what you see on
Right.
stage.
I see that a lot with people who come in. A lot of times they come to my shop, Songblade Company at the fairgrounds, where I met this young man. They'll come in and they'll see me wearing a shirt like says mixed martial arts or jiu-jitsu or whatever, and they say, "Do you train?" I was like, "Yeah, a little bit, And then they say, "Well, always want to learn." Give them my card, and I was like, "Do me a favor, check out some of my videos online. If it looks attractive to you, come for a free session." If I give out 100 cards, maybe 10 people will get in touch with me. Out of those 10 people, maybe 5 will show up. After those 5 come for the first day, maybe 1 will come back.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's hard. But the hard makes it great. Otherwise, everyone would do it.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, baseball, acting, singing, whatever. You can't go on stage, after a little bit of training and sing like Celine Dion. It's impossible. Everyone thinks they're going to be Tom Hanks after training in an acting school for a few months.
Right.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just hours and days and weeks and years of preparation to get to that level.
That's true. There's an acting technique called the Lee Strasberg technique, where it's about relaxation and sensory work. So you learn to actually. I think that's another way of being self-aware. You relax and you feel where you're holding tension, and you release it with a sound or movement, whatever it is, and it transfers. So you have to constantly work at it, and then you do sensory work using all your senses. But I think that's another great way to build self-awareness. and all
Absolutely.
that stuff.
And that, exactly what you described, if you had mentioned the technique name to me, I wouldn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
However, after you describe it, I'm like, that sounds just like Tai Chi. Tai Chi, moving your chi around your body and really, really feeling where the energy goes and flows. And there's got to be, I've never studied Tai Chi formally. However, I see people in China and Asia 90, 100 years old doing this in the park. There has to be something good to it.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it's very cool.
it's got to be there for a reason.
Right, right.
And what do you think it is? I think it's the whole, really, like, getting specific with balance. I also think it's about patience. It teaches you patience and patience balance. I don't know what else. What do you think?
That sounds correct. It's something that I know you have to really, really. It's a slow process.
Yeah.
And a lot of people,
that's what I was gonna say for the Lee Strasberg technique.
Oh, yeah.
That's it takes years to get it.
Right.
It took me 2 years, no, a year and a half to actually, like, get it. Like, I was breaking down using all those muscle memories that I had from my childhood, bringing it up. It's a tough childhood, so obviously the tears are gonna be coming up. So but it took me a year and a half to get to that point.
right.
So
And a lot of people give up.
Yeah.
Most people give up. I mean, like, and whatever they do. And to tell the truth, I don't know if it's because of the way they grew up or they never had, the proper discipline or whatever. But they just practice something for a while and they see it's hard and they're like, no, I want to do this too hard.
yeah.
But that's why we have stars in so many different realms all across the world. Excuse me. Whether you be a martial artist, an actor, a singer, dancer, you have to keep working at it.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then you'll be like everybody else. I never want to be like everybody else. I always want to be extraordinary at what I do. Whether I succeed or not, who knows? But I at least try every day.
That's right. So, yeah, you do the best you can every single day and sometimes you get burnt out. Sometimes your body just needs rest or your mind needs rest, right?
Exactly.
So a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, but I don't want to do that every day, and so I'm gonna get a burnout and stuff." It's like, okay, that's fine. I'm not saying go at it 100% every single day. If your body needs a break, if your mind needs a break, then take a break.
Right.
It's okay.
See, a lot of people, especially when they first start training and anything, they need that recharge period. But that's when you get to see the soul of someone, the spirit, their work ethic. And one of my best fighters right now, Muhammad, he works with me at the shop.
Yeah.
He came and started studying with me just shy of 2 years ago. The kid had zero martial arts experience. He came from an athletic background. He used to run track. And, this young man, he literally comes every day if I have a class. Nice. Days I don't have a class, like when I need a little recharge, and like I said, not that young anymore.
Yeah.
But
come on, man, you're still young.
A lot of people look at me and sometimes they get carded, so that's good.
Yeah,
but
there you go.
Anyway.
Just gotta shave.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. But even on days when we're not doing anything, I'll be cleaning my home or something. And fortunately, my gym is located literally 100 feet from my house. It's just a detached building in my house. Yeah. So I got no reason not to work out.
Yeah.
But I'll hear something. I look outside. Muhammad's in there hitting the bag. He's in there doing interval training, conditioning training, drills. And I'm like, Muhammad, what are you doing here? He goes, just for light training. And be in there for 4 hours. It's crazy. Yeah.
That's like my dad, man. Mm-hmm. My dad was like that. He's I don't know what black belt, but he's a.
See, you didn't mention this. This is interesting. It's very interesting.
He's a black belt in Kung Fu.
Oh, wow. Very cool.
And he did it in the 70s in New York. And he was his master, I guess, is what you call him? I don't know.
And Kung Fu, actually in Kung Fu, I believe they call it a Sifu.
Sifu. That's right. That's what it is. He said that, hey, I want you to take over the dojo. But my dad was like, nah, I got to go back to Venezuela. So he could have had that opportunity to have his own gym and stuff like that, but he chose to have me instead because that's when I was born.
He picked right. He picked right.
But yeah, so he trained. Yeah, he trained every single day, and the master would tell my dad, or Sifu would tell my dad, "Hey, go home." He was there every day for hours, and he's like, "Dude, go home. You're gonna hurt your body."
Exactly. You get overtrained, get injured. I told Muhammad the same thing.
Oh yeah. That's funny. Were you ever like that?
Yes, very much so. In 1999, after I graduated and after I tried, a few other jobs, this was, like I said, this was way before mainstream. Before there was even any MMA really in North Carolina, there was. Okay, this was back in like AOL days. I'm talking like a long time when the internet first got big.
Whatever. It is.
Exactly. Be sitting there waiting for the page to load. I'm like, damn, I hope I got 2 hours to wait. But I just found a forum called submissionfighting.com. That was like the first MMA or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu web forum. And they had a local section in North Carolina. And I said, does anyone around this area train mixed martial arts? Because I started watching the UFC, and I'm like, these guys are really trying to hurt each other.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think I know how to fight. Yeah, I was like, I don't think I know how to fight. So I was like, I need to at least see. So a young man answered me on the forum. He's like, yeah, we train in Sanford under a man named Seth Stevenson. Seth Stevenson was the godfather, the founder of MMA in North Carolina. And the young man who contacted me, perhaps you heard this name, Jason Mayhem Miller.
Nice.
That was my first training partner, of the
Really?
Mayhem Monk. Yep. And,
Wow.
he beat me up real good for months. But yeah, if you've seen the show on MTV, Bully Beatdown, and he has his cult following, Mayhem Monkeys, and
That's awesome, man.
he's a legend. And
So you that was in his prime when you trained. Then.
yes, yeah, I want to say I was probably like 19, and he was probably like 20, something like that.
How was it training with him?
It's hard. He was one of those guys. I know you've seen him on Bully Beatdown and on his interviews, and he's always kind of like, out there. He is crazy as hell, just like that in real life.
Okay, that's what I thought.
He's not making anything up. And it was weird training with him. Every time I got in the ring, whether we're doing boxing, kickboxing, wrestling, judo, jiu-jitsu, I'm like, I'm going to get hurt in here. Because his way was like, it was wild. I mean, we didn't really drill a lot at my old school. We just sparred a lot,
Gotcha.
kind of thing.
Learn as you go.
Right. And it was tough. Back then I was like 145 soaking wet. I'm like 175 now. But I was the smallest guy there. And
Was he humble?
he was actually really cool after he got to know me. I think when I remember my first class, like it was yesterday. It was 18 years ago, something like that. God, getting old. But I walked in and I'm like, yeah, I've got a couple black belts, a brown belt, blue belt, and under a whole bunch of different styles I wrestled. Yeah. And I was like, I can do this. He's like, okay, well, let's see what you can do. He goes, I got this bag over here. I want you to kick it for 5 minutes. I was like, okay. I'm used to Taekwondo bags, real soft, nice, whatever, and you just kick it with your foot instead of your shin like you're supposed to. Right. I kicked the bag. You know what the bag was filled with? Concrete. Ooh. So I was like, you're crazy if you think I'm going to kick. He said, kick it. And he was just trying to test me, just trying to break me to see if I was, material for the gym.
So it wasn't a joke or anything?
No.
Okay.
No. And then afterwards, I'm like, God, I can barely walk.
Yeah.
And then he was like, no, we're not done. Let's get in the ring. He goes, show me how you escape this position. And then I'm just there trying, I can't. And that went on for about 2 hours. And I remember the head coach, Sess, he came up to me afterwards, and it was like the biggest compliment. I will never forget this. He came up and he said, Adam, you're a tough guy. We'd like you to come back. And I was like, thank you for the training. And then I'm like trying to walk out, like, I'm good. and then I get out the door, like, limping collapse. Oh my God.
It's like when you don't want to fart in front of a girl.
Right. Exactly. You got to use the bathroom real bad, and you're like trying to make it there. And it's crazy. I remember I was so sore and so beat up. I drove home, and this is when I was living with my older brother. I've got an older half brother and a younger sister. I was living with my older half brother, and he literally had to pick me up and take me inside out of the car.
Yeah, I bet.
So,
man,
it was tough, but I stuck with it.
Yeah, you did.
And you eventually just like temper that and train more and more and more. All of a sudden, 6 months later, some other new guys come in, and they're like, hey, spar with Adam. And I'm like, all right, I'm probably going to get my butt kicked again by the new guy. Yeah. But then all of a sudden, I saw what I had learned. And I always tell my fighters that they come in, they're like, God, I'm losing to everybody. I'm like, just take your time. Give me a few months. And then a new guy comes in, and I'm like, roll with them. And they're like tapping him like 5 times in 5 minutes.
Yeah. You never really know how good you get until you are competing with someone that's is not trained.
Right. Exactly. And even when you train with your training partners in the gym, yes, you're going to get better. You're not going to see that progress because everyone else is getting better too.
Yeah. So everyone's going like this at the same time.
So that's it.
That's awesome, dude. That's really cool. I know you have I saw your resume, and it seemed like you had like 10 belts under you. Can you recite them all?
I think so. I think I've touched just about every martial art in the entire world. Let's see. Let's start at the top. I have a black. Yeah, sure. Sorry.
No,
It makes me nervous. The microphone. But one of my most coveted black belts is I have a black belt in Bujutsu, which in Japanese translates to mixed martial arts under sensei.
I was wondering what that was.
Yes, Bu, it just means like warrior.
Okay.
Basically, and so Bujutsu like warrior arts or mixed martial arts.
Okay.
And it is under my friend Grandmaster Hanshi Jeff Ingram, who is a guy very much like me that started studying martial arts when he was very young, and he's my same age, and he's still training. Mm-hmm. And so I'm ranked under him. And we do like a lot of weapons training as well.
Cool.
I have a brown belt under the best judo system in the world, Collier Method of Judo. Please check that out. Monty Collier, Nick and Cy Collier. These kids are demons. There's only 7 brown belts in the world in the Collier system. The only black belt is the Grandmaster Monty.
Why is that?
Because his progression is not, he's not a belt factory. Mm-hmm. He's not giving tests every 3 months and charging a whole lot of money. He's like the wise man living on top of the mountain somewhere.
That's the teachers you gotta have.
Exactly,
yeah.
Exactly. And super, super humble. And I met him just because he makes YouTube videos. I make YouTube videos, and mm-hmm. eventually we got together. And in his system, there's only 3 belts. And this is how it was in traditional Japan. White, brown, black. There's to get from go to white to brown, 5 years minimum. Yeah. To go from brown to black, another 5 years minimum. And it's not guaranteed. He wants you training every day for that amount of time. So I've been a brown belt for a couple of years now, and every day I'm trying to train, making progress. But like I said, the ultimate goal is not the black belt. It's the journey to the black belt.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see what else. I'm a brown.
Yeah.
There's one. Okay.
10 more. Come on.
I'm a brown belt in Gracie Baja Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've had a lot of great teachers.
I know Jiu-Jitsu, but Baja Jiu-Jitsu?
Okay, yeah. There's a lot of different sects, if you want to call about it, different sections of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And depending on who you talk to, you'll get a different story every time.
Gotcha.
In essence, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu came to Rio de Janeiro under Count Koma, Mitsuo Maeda. He's a Japanese fighter, Japanese judo and jiu-jitsuka. And he made friends with the Gracie family. Mm-hmm. And
I love that story.
Yeah, it is a great story. Yeah. But what a lot of times that you won't find out is if you ask most BJJ guys, who was the founder of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, they'll say Helio Gracie. Mm-hmm. Wrong. It was not Helio Gracie. It was Carlos Gracie, his older brother. He then taught Helio Gracie, and then they formed 2 different branches. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Helio had more of a self-defense style and more of a leverage style, and it was called Gracie Umaita at the time, which later became Gracie Academy. If you want to see like the most well-known Gracie Academy guys, Henner and Hiron Gracie.
Gotcha.
They do a lot of videos and stuff like that. And from Carlos, his son Carlos Jr. is a 7th Dan black belt, and he formed Gracie Baja, and it was named after a certain street in Brazil. It would be like saying Hillsborough Street Jiu-Jitsu or something like that.
I thought he'd like tacos.
Right.
Baja tacos.
So, yeah, and then that's where my lineage comes from. I was fortunate to receive my first belt, my blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, under Master Helio Soneca Moreira. He is a 5th Dan and one of the founding members of Gracie Baja, one of the top 10 BJJ coaches in the world.
That's cool. Was that here?
Yep. I actually flew him here for a seminar, and I said like this, I was like, I've been training really hard. I've been training really hard in the gi, and I would like you to evaluate me. If you feel that I'm deserving for a blue belt, because in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu it's just white, blue, purple, brown, black, and then red, when you're a true grandmaster, then I'd like to see. So he came in, and Helio's just a little guy. He's like this tall and probably like 130 pounds, and a little guy. Mm. And I was so humbled during that seminar. I mean, he was showing me techniques. I'm like, oh my God, and you made me feel like I've never studied before in my life.
Yeah.
But at the end, he was like, okay, show me some techniques. And I was like, okay, I do this, that. And he goes, you're a blue belt, man. So he presented me with my blue belt and my certificate. And I even have the video on YouTube when I got it. It was
Very cool.
very nice.
That's awesome,
Nice
man.
presentation.
That's very cool. What's your favorite out of all the techniques you do, out of all the martial arts that you do? Oh,
Gosh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get more hate in this area.
no, actually, let's do this. Let's do this.
Okay.
Out of all the belts that you have, which one are you most proud of?
I have to break it down with those two. My black belt in Bujutsu under Jeff Ingram and my brown belt under Monty Collier. When he trained me, that was literally from birth till now the hardest thing that I've done in my life.
Yeah.
We would train 5 hours a day one day, 5 the next, 5 the next, 5 the next. He'd come back a few weeks later, 5 hours, 5 hours. And I'm not talking about like a wrestling school or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school where he'll show a technique, we'll practice it, and then everyone's like, lounging around, going and hanging out by the water cooler kind of thing. No, he was like, I want 5 hours of training. So it was like throw after throw after throw. I must have gotten thrown thousands of times.
I hate getting thrown, man. It sucks.
A lot of jiu-jitsu guys, they don't like it and they don't appreciate it. But judo and jiu-jitsu are brother and sister.
Yeah.
They all came from the same place. Japanese jiu-jitsu, originally was founded on the battlefields of Japan. What happens when you drop your sword? And some guys come at you with a sword, you want to disable them. Then the sport system of jiu-jitsu, judo, was invented by Grandmaster Jigoro Kano. From there, he taught Maeda. Maeda went to Brazil, taught the Gracie family, and now Brazilian jiu-jitsu was born from judo.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
but a lot of Brazilian jiu-jitsu guys who are very much into just the sport aspect of it, you see stuff that's not really, let me put it this way. We're in a real fight. I hope I don't have to fight you. First of all, he might be really good. Number two, he's a nice guy.
That's true.
But say we're squared up.
Yeah.
What would be the last worst thing for him to do in a fight? Sit on his butt and look at me like this, waiting for me to engage him.
Yeah.
That's what they do in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. They don't practice takedowns. Some schools, they'll show a little takedown here and there. But takedowns I think should be 50%, and ground game, newaza, should be 50%.
Yeah.
But
And especially if you fall, you got to learn how to roll out of it.
of course, yeah, so you don't snap yourself up.
Yep.
Take that one-way ticket to Snap City,
Yeah.
But
I do like that aspect of in martial arts about learning how to fall. I
Right.
think that's a big thing, like not putting your hand down on the ground and
Yes.
stuff like that, curling up your back.
Yes. It's called
that
ukemi in judo. It just means learning, like falling, learn how to fall.
Okay.
Or break fall. So most people call
Break
it
fall, yeah.
break fall. If you don't have that ability, and because every single Brazilian, this is the thing with the Brazilian jiu-jitsu. They always say 90% of fights end on the ground, so you want to train on the ground. I'm like, yeah, but 100% of fights start standing on the feet.
Yeah.
And so what happens if someone grabs you? Are you just going to sit down and maybe wait there for a second, and then a good judo guy spikes you on your head? Guess what? There's no more ground game.
Yeah.
You're dead. You spiked your head on the ground, or you snapped your back up with that. So it's very, very important to train these takedowns, and at the very least understand the takedowns so you have a good takedown defense. But just like you said, most people don't like getting thrown. I don't like getting thrown. Even if I break fall perfectly, yes, there's some impact. But that's the great thing about judo. Judo makes you tough. It makes you very, very tough.
Yeah.
And it's just a wonderful feeling that being able to take someone down to the ground, that's a great equalizer in a fight. Say we're in a fight. I hope not. But he's a better boxer than me. And I don't want to sit there and, take his combinations, sit there and just get hurt.
Yeah.
So what do I want to do? I want to take him down. If I have good judo, I can do that. Now, what if he's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, really tough guy, and I know he's going to kick my butt on the ground. I can use my takedown defense to stay on my feet and keep boxing.
Yeah. That's true.
And
Jiu-jitsu guy's always going to shoot in,
That's right. That's right. So why not study that great equalizer? But just a lot of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys just don't. I'd say probably 85% of schools nationwide, or maybe even worldwide, practice judo.
And I think I know the reason why, but I want you to answer it. Why do you think that is?
I think they fear the impact a little bit. I think that arrogance, that they believe that their system is really, really
just the best one.
Yeah, exactly. Just that's all they need. That's
Yeah.
all they need. So they practice sport jiu-jitsu. I'm like, why not expand your mind? If this is a brother and sister sport, I mean, literally, judo guys, they fight on the ground too. Maybe not as good as jiu-jitsu guys, but they have newaza. So why not? I mean, I love to learn something every day. Why not explore?
Yeah.
And especially if you're competing, and if you're competing in a jiu-jitsu tournament and you have incredible judo, like my guys do, you're going to get gold, double gold, triple gold all the time because you can take the fight to them.
Yeah.
You get that first point, and it's not just a point. You throw them hard and they're stunned for a minute. Maybe you get a quick guard pass, maybe you get a quick submission.
Right.
That's what I believe.
Yeah. And to add on to that, I think it's also because it's commercialized now. And so
Perfect
people
answer.
think about they have, I don't know, I don't want to say empathy for other people that don't have any training, but I think it's also about the money, money and just being commercialized.
You hit the nail right on the head, my friend. The Gracies, I love the Gracies. Yes, and I will never forget that they founded their sect of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That being said, I think that they are better businessmen than anything. They can really sell it. I mean, you could walk up to anyone on the street 15 years ago and you're saying, do you know what Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is? Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, what the hell is that? You go to someone now, I bet they know. Yeah. Oh, yeah, the Gracie.
Yeah.
They're choking people and stuff like that. So judo was very, very popular in the United States after World War II. Like I said, I'm paraphrasing all this from my instructor, Monty.
Yeah.
And it just kind of fell off. It became kind of like an elitist sport kind of thing. And, unless you were within the inner circles of judo cliques and whatnot, then, it just kind of fell off.
Right.
And it's not popular. But people love to watch takedowns. And that's so weird. Like WWE, professional wrestling, everyone loves to watch that. Why wouldn't you want to watch judo competition or judo highlights on YouTube, right, where you see guys really getting thrown and really getting hurt? It's just, I don't know. It kind of baffles me, but
yeah,
for me, I'm very fortunate with my gym because I work 2 other jobs. I'm not doing it for the money. My original coach Seth, bless his heart, he charged me peanuts to train there because I was broke at the time. It was like a 45-minute drive, but I'd still be there a few days a week. Nice. And so this is kind of my way. Anyone who comes and trains with me, I very minimal gym dues, and they don't have it. I'm like, I don't care. Just come and train and we square up later. Nice. One of my students actually pays me in sandwiches.
Nice.
Because his father owns a sub shop, and then it was actually my decision because I'm like, well, I want to eat after training, and you own a sub shop. How about you bring me a foot-long sub after every training session that you come, and I don't charge you? He's like, cool, good for me. I was like, good for me too.
That's awesome. What kind of sub? Was it like a Subway subs? Or?
It's actually Firehouse Subs.
Oh, yeah, buddy.
There's a good one.
Get it.
It's the one right off of Harrison Avenue and Maynard Road.
Yeah.
It's a really, really nice one.
You were a breakdancer?
Yes, I was. That was another one of the arts. Oh, let me name just the last.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, you're fine. So I'm also a brown belt in Shotokan Karate. I'm a black belt in Taekwondo under Master Kang Sok Lee, who actually founded the Olympic program of Taekwondo. It's really cool. I'm a black belt under Hapkido under the same master. I'm a blue belt in Kazun Ryu Tojutsu, so I practice with the sword a little bit. And then I have, a lot of kickboxing experience, which doesn't, have belts, and I studied wrestling. And then, of course, I studied a little bit of capoeira. Yeah, capoeira.
Nice.
That's next door neighbor to you right there. It's a Brazilian martial art. And that actually kind of got me into breakdancing a little bit. I don't even know how I found, this one club. Me and my friend Vic, we were just kind of walking around downtown Raleigh one day. Yeah. And we were just passing the time, and all of a sudden we hear outside a club, right?
Bass.
That's right. Where's the ladies at?
Yeah,
it's crazy. And then I was like, you know what, man? I haven't been in this club. I never even noticed this club. Let's go in for a little bit. Walk in, and I met this really cool guy named Jansen. I've known him for 15 years. And shook his hand or whatever, and he was like, yeah, you dance? I was like, yeah, I dance a little bit, And he goes, that's my brother over there. And there was a kid on the floor breaking. And I was like, let me go talk to him. And so he's showing me something, like a set or whatever, and then, I'm dancing a little bit, just whatever, club dancing. And then I go down to the ground and start doing some capoeira stuff. He's like, oh my God, where'd you learn that? And I was like, I just train a little bit here and there. But I've met other guys who are breakers, and I started getting into breaking, and I did that. Probably spent too much time downtown, probably too much on drinks downtown.
Hey, at least, you're getting some exercise with it.
That's right. That's right. I was one of those weird guys, I could drink and drink and drink and drink at the club, and I would never get tips. I wouldn't even get tipsy because I'm sweating it out. But I did that for until like I turned 30 when I started like kind of looking around at the people in the club.
Wait, when did you start? When you were like 20, the early 20s?
No, a little bit later. I want to say
later.
probably,
Okay,
like
gotcha.
20. Yeah, early 20s, like 23-ish,
Okay.
something like that.
All right, cool.
But yeah, I did that and met a lot of friends.
What was it? Did you you didn't go to school or anything? Did you compete in dancing?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
That's
and
what it was.
if we're talking about my dancing background, yes, I used to study a long time ago theater dance, jazz, tap, ballet, hip hop, acrobatics, gymnastics. Kind of fell into that when I was 10.
Why? Was it just fun for you to just do it, or
This was
there a
during
thing with it?
this was the early 90s, like when they had a lot of good hip hop music.
Yeah.
Not rap music, hip hop
Hip-hop.
art. Yeah, very very big difference. It's not talking about shaking the booty and twerking and drop down, get your eagle on, girl. It's not that. Hip hop used to be about rocking parties.
Yeah.
So my sister was always into dance, so I got involved in a really, really good program, and they had a boys only class, just learning hip hop. So I started there, went from there, competed a lot at local competitions, and when I had just turned 18, I actually got a job on a cruise ship, performing in a few of their shows. I did it for 9 months. I sailed all over. Well, I was in Europe for a while, and then I sailed in the Caribbean for a long time. So fortunately, God bless, because of that, I saw 12 different countries.
Nice. Yeah, my friend is actually on a cruise ship right now. She's been doing it for years, and she's seen the world, man,
Right.
twice.
It's exciting and it's a really good way to save money because your room and your board's paid for, your food is paid for. So all you do is you do your thing, and then since you're in international waters, they pay you cash, tax free. You don't have to report the income.
What?
Seriously.
I didn't know that.
Yep. I think it was Thursday on the cruise ship, we had a little line outside.
Was it stacks?
Yeah,
You
that's what
stacking?
it was. It was like, all right, Adam's song, okay. And at the time, this is when I was like 18 years old, and I was getting paid $600 cash a week, and they paid for my room and board. I was like,
Damn,
I'm
dude.
rich. I was like, I'm rich. And so you just go and you live the life. And I would have
That's
done it for
awesome.
longer. A lot of people like your friend here, they do it for a long time because it's a great way to save money, make a nest egg, and then retire. But at the time, I was just very young and immature, and I missed home. So after my contract ended, I just was like, no, I don't want to renew it.
Yeah.
Came back home.
Yeah, you definitely save some money there, though.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
you get some time off the ship when
Yes.
you land somewhere, and so you spend money there, but
Right.
it's not that expensive because
No.
it's foreign waters. I mean,
That's
it's
right.
foreign country.
That's right.
So it's cheaper there.
Right.
Not
I'll
unless
tell
you
you
go
what,
like
my friend,
England.
I've always wanted to go back to this one place in Mexico we were at. The beach was called La Playa del Carmen, and it is literally a slice of heaven. The water isn't this color; it's that color. I mean, I'm sorry, the sand is this color.
Okay,
The-
I was like, water is white.
But the water was actually like you see in the Caribbean. I mean, you could walk this far in and see your feet in the water.
Yeah,
it was
I
crazy.
love that.
And just to talk about that, I had a favorite restaurant I went to, and it's still there. I Googled it, and it's still there. It's called Tacolote. And you could sit down there and order like 4 soft tacos or 4 fried tacos, whatever you want, beans, rice, and a margarita, and it would cost like $6. So
Nice.
I was like, you can't get a Happy Meal for $6 or an extra value meal for $6 nowadays.
Did you always like get more food and then bring it onto the ship?
We spent enough calories where I usually ate it all.
All right, deal. So you got into MMA, you know, dancing to MMA and doing all these things, and then you retired from MMA.
Yes.
So you got a bunch of injuries, right? I know I
Yes.
have like both my shoulders are messed up.
I hear that all the time.
Pop tendons in my ankle and in my hand. I think that's all the injuries I have. My knee is pretty messed
You
up.
better knock on wood, man.
Yeah.
You don't want any more.
No, I don't. That's why I don't compete or
Right,
anything. I
right.
just train, but
Right.
and I taught it the beginners for a little bit when I was with Kenji Sakosi, and as an assistant teacher. And so I would always get injuries training that way because, you know, you got to go easy on the new students.
Right.
But then you cause injury to yourself.
Right.
By doing
and
that.
also, you might get that one knucklehead student, and he's like, you show him like a guillotine or something.
Yeah.
And, okay, that's how I do it. And it would be like this.
Yeah, yeah.
Tried to pull your
That's
head
how I
off.
popped tendons in my ankle. Like he grabbed a hold of it and was like going for a heel hook. I was like, no, don't do that. And then you hear, I was like, ugh. And then I moved it, and it wasn't broken, but
The most dangerous people in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu are the white belts. To train with that, really.
they don't know how to control themselves.
Exactly.
That's crazy. Have you ever had anything crazy like that happening in
A
your
lot.
gym?
Not really. Knuckleheads usually don't last very long in my gym.
Yeah.
They don't have the discipline because you can tell most of the time, just how someone comports themselves and to see if they're ring lord's material. And I like to think that I'm a trainer that's like 50-50. I'm not a drill sergeant, and I'm not get up and do 10 push-ups. Give me 10 more fucking push-ups.
Yeah.
I'm not like that. But at the same time, there's no play in my gym. I'm not letting you guys just sit around, joke, whatever, drink their water. I'm like, guys, what are we doing?
Get to work.
Yeah, get to work. So, sometimes I get injured.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, what retired me from MMA, I was facing this guy, Matt Balearis, who's a really, really nice guy. I never wanted to fight him, and I fought him twice.
In a competition?
Yeah, a
Gotcha.
real MMA match,
Okay.
and very, very limited rules. Like I said, this was before his sanction. It was just like an underground event kind of thing. But I can talk about this because the statute of limitations have passed. So the underground events they were wild. People be drinking in there and smoking weed. It was crazy. But he was a better athlete than me, and he was a better wrestler than me. So I'm like, look at him, and he's probably 25 pounds heavier than me. He's like cock diesel. And I'm like, all right, I got to fight this guy. Okay, cool. So I go out there and I try to use my speed. And I take him down, like Coach Sotogari, whatever, went up in his guard, close guard. And he was so strong, like I'm trying to just posture up, and he's just like breaking my posture, corrupting my posture. And then all of a sudden, whoop, he sets up for a hip bump sweep, a Kimura sweep. And he was so strong with that, he lifted me airborne. And I was so proud, I didn't want to just get swept and wind up in mount, underneath his mount.
Yeah.
So I posted my left shoulder out. All of his weight and my weight, since we were airborne, came down on this. Like I was like this, and
You broke it?
yeah. Like, I don't even know the extent of the damage to this day. Check this out. This is good flexibility on this one. This is my good arm. That's how far back this one goes.
Yeah, there it is.
Any more than that hurts. So when I'm with my students, I'm like, if they grab this arm, I'll give them a choke before I let them try to work on this arm.
Damn.
So the ring, it was really, really ghetto event. And
Underground fighting.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't have a medic per se. They had a guy who I think was like a nurse or something. And so I'm like holding my arm, and the ref is saying, fight's over. I'm like, no, the fight's not over. Just put the arm back in. Let's go. Because I was like, I trained so hard for this fight, I still want to keep going.
Yeah.
But he's like, no, sorry, the fight's over. So I'm like, all right. And
Legal issues here.
Right,
Stop
exactly.
it.
So I grabbed he made me hold a dumbbell. It fell back into place, but ever since then it's been bad.
Yeah.
I had 2 fights after that. I won one and I lost one, but both of them I re-injured my shoulder, and I retired because I went and saw I think a chiropractor one time. I had a friend whose father was a chiropractor, so he didn't charge me.
Yeah.
He said, Adam, you need to quit competing or you're going to cripple yourself. You're going to lose your use of that arm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's true.
that was my short-lived career.
There it is. But it was a good one.
It was
While
good.
it lasted.
It was a lot of fun. I mean, I'll never be able to replace those days.
Yeah.
But now I'm very, very happy I get a chance to pass on to the future generation everything I've learned and experienced. Maybe one day I have champions, or maybe one day I just have people that just want to train for fun.
Yeah, that's why I love being a teacher, man. It's because you get to pass down your knowledge, and you get to pass down the things that worked, the things that didn't work.
Right.
And you could tell them that, and it's up to them if they want to listen to it or not. It's their opinion. It's only my opinions for them. So
That's excellent. And you can always you as a teacher, you always get a chance to put your little flair, little flavor, twist on something.
Right. Yeah.
So it's always good to both martial arts and I'm sure every other art, dance and acting and visual arts is always evolving, always changing.
Always.
So it's great. And,
You gotta love it. You gotta love it. And that's why the people say, you got to do your own style, right? That's how things evolve, is doing your own style.
That's
And
right.
I think that's great.
It changes so fast. I mean, every 10 years, if you look back and then you look back again, I'm like,
I feel like it's even sooner.
Right.
Nowadays, it's quicker.
right.
So maybe like now it's every 5 years or something
Right.
like that.
The internet really helps out quite a bit.
Yep.
I mean, when I was competing, the only way we learn new techniques is if we drove someplace, a big city like New York, or there was a magazine that came out called Grappling Magazine.
Yeah.
Sit there and read through that. And I remember one of the first ones I bought showed the heel hook. I was like, oh my God, it's revolutionary.
Yeah.
And nowadays, you type in on YouTube, heel hook demonstration.
There's like millions.
Yeah,
of
exactly.
videos.
And you just pick. You know?
Heel hook, man. I don't like that move. It's so dangerous. So dangerous.
It's not even worth it to train, really.
No, it's not.
Yep.
No. So how is it owning your own gym? Like compared to you going to a gym and stuff like that?
It's incredible.
How big of a step was that for you?
It actually kind of happened randomly. I remember after I took a good 6 months off of training in mixed martial arts. I still worked out, but
It was after your competition, right?
Right. And
Or match, I should say.
right. Who knows what do you call that one? But I remember one day I was just kind of in my neighborhood and I was just like bored and like I was running and shadow boxing at the same time, and I randomly found a guy who was like, "Do you train in martial arts?" And I was like, actually he asked me in Spanish, "Tu practicas artes marciales?" And he said, yes, I do. And then he said, "Well, I'd like to learn." I was like, "Cool." I was like, "Well, I got a little empty space in my house. We can train a little bit." And so he was my first student. His name was Valentino Chigre Bueno. This guy is a local legend. Probably
Sounds like one.
Yeah. He was one of those Hispanic kids, Mexican kid. He was like 22 at the time, something like that, and he fought at 145, but you would think that he was a light heavyweight. By the way, he has so much strength. Why? Because a lot of Mexicans, they do manual labor and hard work, and they just have that hard work mentality. Yeah. And so he started competing amateur. He lost his first fight because he got sandbagged. The promoter told me, "Oh yeah, I got another guy. He can fight. He's been training 6 months. This guy's been training about 6 months in MMA." I was like, "Cool, good matchup." Turns out the guy was a black belt in judo as well. So, and my guy had been training 6 months in any kind of grappling martial art. Valentin almost knocked him out in the first round, but the second round he got caught. So we brought in a better jiu-jitsu guy, and he won his next four. Valentin won his next 4 fights by knockout. And then no one in the area wanted to fight him. So I was like, okay, well, we can keep training and see how it goes, or we can go pro if you want to go pro, and you're gonna have some harder fights, but you're gonna make some money. I said, let's go pro. He had 2 pro fights. One of them went well. The other one did not go so well. He kind of like fell off, and honestly, I haven't seen him in years.
Gotcha. Wow.
But it is great just being able to like have somebody there that's really, really dedicated that I can mold and develop a good friendship with and understand. So really,
I love that, don't you?
Yes.
Have it finding people like that?
That's right. It's very, very rare to find someone who is very, very dedicated, and you could ask them to jump, they say how high, and you become a good friend with them. I mean, having that kind of bond between teacher and student is invaluable.
Yeah, absolutely, and a trust level too.
That's right, absolutely.
So from there, you got your first student. And then was it when he kind of fell off is when you started getting more students, or wanted to try and get more students?
They slowly came in. Really, all I have to do is I got a big neck, big shoulders. If I walk around the flea market, where my shop is on the weekend, I'm sure it says jiu-jitsu on something like that. People will come up to me and they'll be like, "Do you train?" So slowly, I would get students. I've trained Brett Lone Wolf Barton, who is a successful fighter. Some local pros like Dwan Owens, he's pro now. He trained with me for a little while. Boomer, the owner of CageSideMMA.com.
Boomer.
Yep.
I love Boomer, man.
He
when he told me his name, I was like, Boomer! Every time I go in there, like, Boomer! What's up?
He's an awesome guy, but I was his first jiu-jitsu coach. This was way back in the way.
Yeah, he's a really humble guy.
Very, very nice. I still see him every now and again because I have a few students who compete at grappling tournaments. So I see him and some of the other old school guys. It's always fun.
Nice.
And now people come and people go, but the gym is always there. Yeah,
it's always there when you need it.
That's right. That's right. And the expression is, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So I found that
that's
to
a
be
good way
very,
to put
very
it.
true.
I like that. I'm gonna use that. I'm stealing it.
That's right. He's Venezuelan, but that's Chinese principle. So
that's right.
He's part Asian now.
Respect. So So your gym is called Ring Lords Vale Todo.
That's right, Valley Total.
How did you get that name?
Okay, the original gym that I trained at under Cess, it was called Ring Skills Combat Sports Academy. It was in Sanford. And I knew it was a good gym because it was like an old dilapidated building.
Yeah.
Looked like Mickey's gym from Rocky.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? I'm like,
You're a bum.
I'm like, oh man, this is that real shit right here. I was like, that's cool. Okay, cool. So I just, as a humble way of showing respect to my original coach, I named it Ring Lords Vale Todo, and I really, really love the old Vale. Well, okay,
The Vale Todo fights, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
because those were real. They had two. They had nowadays people look at UFC, someone usually like soccer mom, something like that,
Yeah.
and they're just like flipping to the channels and they see, they're like, what the is this?
Yeah.
They're like, these
You can
guys
curse,
are
it's okay.
beating. Okay, they're like, what the fuck is this? And to the average eye, it looks like two guys just going in there and trying to kill each other. But the UFC has so many rules. Now in Vale Todo,
Yeah.
the original days in Brazil, they had two rules. You couldn't bite somebody and you couldn't eye gouge somebody. Hair pulling was okay. Stomping a guy in the face on the ground was okay. Reaching inside their mouth and trying to fish hook and rip their cheek out was okay. Headbutts were okay.
Soccer kicks.
Soccer
were okay?
kicks. Elbows to the spine. Just whatever. Because their whole philosophy is, well, if you're in trouble, you can tap. But sometimes it was crazy, though, because sometimes they let it go just a little bit longer. I think it's just for entertainment value. You guys sitting there like this. And the
Are
ref
you
is like-
sure? Are you sure?
The ref's
Are
like-
you sure? Okay. Well, stop it. Stuff like that.
He was like, I'll allow it a little longer.
Yeah. Would you? I think Vale Todo is like, you would call it the professional underground fighting.
Yes.
Would you think that's
Yes.
correct? That's
Yes. Because mixed martial arts, while I do think it is a very, very effective fighting system, it is a sport. I would not want to clinch with a guy, throw him, mount him, and start punching him in a bar, for example. I
Yeah.
mean, that's why I would say there's always good in every martial art. If I got into a street fight in a crowded area, I'd want a Wing Chun guy with me, a Krav Maga guy with me, my sensei Jeff, who's very, very good at like in close fighting, especially with weapons or anti-weapons.
Right.
A Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy, while, yes, I always say this, if there's one martial art you can only study from beginning of your life to the end of your life, what would it be? It would be Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Because, yes, every fight is going to go to the ground, especially for women. Let's be real, anti-rape kind of situation, sexual assaults, that's what a woman wants to train.
Yep.
However, it's not complete.
Right.
Is very, very far from complete. And for a BJJ guy to think that he's a unbeatable fighter because he's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, he's got another thing coming.
I don't think you would ever find a black belt saying that.
Right. Exactly.
In BJJ. So yeah, I tell every female. I still think this. Every female should be taking jiu-jitsu classes.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, around this area, and I'm just like you, I'm sure you're well traveled, and I've traveled a lot. And in this particular area, there's a lot of rich, affluent Caucasian women, and they think my ex was actually a lot like that. Anyway, they think they live in a little fantasy world. They think that nothing's going to happen to them.
Yeah.
Oh, rape that was on TV? No, that was just on TV.
Yeah. It's something that's it's only happens in movies or something like that.
Now, why would you think like that? I mean, saying that is like, I don't want to have a fire extinguisher in my house, even though there might be a fire, because I can call the fire department. And it's bullshit.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
what are they going to do? Call 911 and wait for the cops to get there 20 minutes later? They get assaulted.
Exactly. And North Carolina is one of the top places for sex trafficking.
Right.
And not a lot of people know that.
Nope.
Because they don't see it.
Right. Exactly.
Or they're not aware of the signals that are out there.
Exactly.
With it.
It's difficult. It's not I'm old enough to where I remember when I grew up in like the 80s and the 90s, the world was a different place, much, much nicer place. The economy was better. You never heard about any real terrorist attacks. Now, I mean, look what we got. And we have a nuclear warhead could be sent our way. Could be an epidemic. Everyone's getting sick. Mass shootings.
Yeah.
All kinds of crazy stuff that's happening right now, and it's happening everywhere. So why wait for something bad to happen and say, oh, well, okay, I'll learn now. No, be prepared.
Exactly.
Be prepared.
I was training this girl that she was raped a few times
No, that's
actually,
terrible.
or and attempted. And she said one of those, like, she ended up knocking some guy out.
Oh, wow.
Which was impressive because she's petite.
Mm-hmm.
But I trained her a little bit in jujitsu, and she almost like lost it, like started like freaking
Right.
out. And I was
Right.
like, no, don't think about what you did.
Right.
Think about what you would do now
Exactly.
with what I taught you.
Yep.
And then
yep.
she started
That
to
woman
relax.
anymore doesn't exist.
Right.
Now, you're someone else.
Mm-hmm. So what would you say to someone that was thinking about training in MMA, but they're like, I don't want to get hurt, or it's like, I've seen people get injuries.
I don't want to get
and
hit in the
stuff like that.
face.
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
I don't want to bleed and
Right.
broken bones. What would you say to them? But they still wanted to train in martial arts.
I would simply say this. Okay, you watch YouTube, yes? Okay, cool. Go to YouTube, search Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu versus, or MMA versus, and that could be a street fighter, or just some random guy off the street, Taekwondo black belt, Aikido guy, Muay Thai guy, and it's proven that in that kind of situation, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and real fighting is the way to train. I mean, a black belt in karate, especially these local belt factories, I see 8, 9, 10-year-old kids wearing a black belt. I'm like, did you buy? I was like, how much that belt cost
I never
you?
liked that.
Right, and it's just crazy. But like I said, the local guys, and just like you said about the Gracies, it's like kind of going that same way. They just want, they want it to look good. And they want the kids to feel good. There's nothing wrong with that, but you have to say to yourself, is this real or is this not real?
Yeah.
And the only way that you can figure that out is by sparring, by hard training, by hard rolling. And that's great about BJJ. You can roll, almost 100% level, and you probably, as long as you trust your partner, you won't get terribly hurt.
That's true. Very true. So what would you say to them? Someone who wanted to train, they type in BJJ
versus
anything.
versus the world kind of thing.
So
or just look at fights, and that you can just put street fight or something like that, and you'll see these people, and you can never tell how dangerous a person is. I mean, or what kind of a day they've had, or if they just got fired from their job, or they're high, or completely stoned out of their mind.
Yeah,
people are dangerous. People are dangerous, and if you're not going to study the martial arts, if you're too lazy or you're just not convinced or whatever, then at least learn
self-defense.
Self-defense and your spatial awareness.
Yeah.
I mean, because if someone comes up behind you and grabs you and you don't know what to do, you have a problem. But if you walk around and you're kind of glancing around, okay, there's someone over there, heard someone behind me.
It's like you're driving.
Exactly. I've never heard that before. Exactly like that.
It's like you're driving. It's exactly like that. You're aware of every single car. I'm like, a lot of people, I think, when they drive, I feel like they only look at the surroundings near the car.
Right.
And I'm always looking at like a mile down.
Right.
And what's close to me.
Right.
That much of a distance all around. And so I think that's what people have to start
Right.
doing.
And I bet you're like that because you're a martial artist, because you train in martial arts.
Yeah.
I mean, and you're intelligent.
Stop.
It's true. I mean, if people go through life every day and they don't make the most of it, carpe diem, that's one of my favorite expressions. Live every day like it's your last, because it could be,
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome, man. And so you own Songblade,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So you own that and the gym.
That's correct.
And you have another job
Yes.
as well. So
Yes.
how do you balance that out? Is it hard for you, or does it come naturally? Or is it just one of those things where you kind of don't have an option and you just got to get it done?
I'd say it's a little bit of all three.
Yeah.
and also the fact that I have a daughter, a wonderful daughter. Her name is Ophelia. Her mom and I didn't work out.
How old?
She's 4.5.
Nice.
But I remember blinking, and I remember she was an infant like this big.
Yeah.
But
So you do it for her then?
I do it for her, and actually today is my visitation day with her. I get a chance to see her.
Oh, nice,
so,
dude.
It's
Awesome.
wonderful. Very, very excited about that.
Yeah.
And you just have to. And I'm used to my schedule, and I love working hard. I try to take the best care of my body I can. Right now I really don't drink. I try to eat clean.
Yeah.
And get enough sleep. I bet I have an overactive mind. I bet you do too.
I'm sorry?
I bet I have an overactive mind.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you do too.
Yeah.
Always thinking about the next thing, the
Yep.
next thing, the next
Always.
thing. And that's a blessing and a curse. It's
Yeah.
a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, I would
So-
say so.
So it's
But
just
more of a
life.
blessing than a curse, but
Yeah.
definitely both.
Right. Right.
What's up with Songblade? Did you start that, or did you start that with someone else?
I'm an offshoot of my dad. My dad,
Okay. Gotcha.
when he originally came to the United States, like I said, a very long time ago, and he was actually a professional chef for a long time. Very, very good. Still remember him cooking for me. It was great, but he wasn't making the money he wanted to. And Asian people always have an affinity for small business.
Right.
So he got together with some friends. He's like, guys, I need to make some more money. I think that was right around the time when he met my mother.
Okay.
And they suggested to him, well, there's a trade show in Las Vegas that you can go to every year, and it's basically business trade. You go there, you see kind of products or whatever being sold. So my father went, and he'd never been to Vegas before. I still haven't been to Vegas. Everyone tells me it's great.
You look like you've been to Vegas.
I'd love to.
Why you haven't?
I'd love to go. You let me know when you're ready. We'll go.
All right, sounds good. Hey, just quick. We're still rolling on the camera, right? It's 4K, so I didn't know how much memory it was going to be. I didn't know if it stopped because of that. All right. Okay, cool. So, very cool. So, Songblade is
An offshoot of my father's business.
no, but like, so it's a knife store. How would you describe your store to someone?
I would call it I wouldn't call it
Weapons.
a weapon.
Weapons.
I probably wouldn't call it a weapon shop. I would call it more of a variety shop because now, granted, the majority of our sales are knives, swords, and collectibles, or a collectible shop. Now,
Okay.
that being
That's a good way
said,
to put it.
yes, I do have very, very dangerous functional weapons,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm very careful who I sell it to, and I always tell people they want to. What's the number one sword everyone thinks of when you think of a sword? A katana, right?
Yeah.
So I have katanas behind me, and they're like, "Oh, can I take a look at the katana?" I'm like, "Sure." Show them the katana very carefully, and they're like, "Man, I could chop off somebody's head with that." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, exactly." I'm like, "Probably not," And I have a sign that says in the shop, "We reserve the right to refuse service or a sale to someone who looks like they might misuse this weapon."
That's good.
So it's usually like, and like I said, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but it's usually like a white bread college kid between the ages of like 18 and 24 would come in, and they just grab this stuff, and I've even seen this. They start sword fighting with my weapons in the shop without even talking to me.
Like even connecting.
Yeah, ding, ding, ding. I'm like,
That's disrespectful.
I'm
right
like, what
there.
the fuck? I was like, get the hell out of here. And then they look at me like I'm crazy, like that's accepted. And I'm like, can I come into your house and just start like rummaging through
We're
your
not
stuff?
in Toys R Us.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, this is dangerous, So,
Yeah.
But what I always tell them, they're like, wow, this seems like a really good weapon. And I'm like, it's more of a tool than a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
You're the weapon. This is just your tool that you would use.
Yeah.
I mean, a guy could have, or like, it's really funny, just a short story. This old lady came in my shop, older lady, I'm gonna say maybe 60s, something like that. Nice lady. And I was showing her, she was like with her son or something, and he was looking around. And I was like, ma'am, is there anything I can interest you with? We saw a lot of self-defense products. And she goes, no, I'm okay. I got a gun in my purse. I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I was behind my desk at the time. And all of a sudden, I walked around, and I was standing next to her. And she was like, what are you doing? I was like, do you think in that amount of time you could have gotten your gun out and shot me with it? I was like, yes, you have a tool, but you're the weapon.
Yep.
You have to be trained with a weapon. You have to be trained. That's what's wonderful about martial arts.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, oh, I've got a gun, I've got a shotgun, I've got a rifle, AR-15, whatever. I was like, is it with you now? Oh no, I left it home. I'm like, these are with me in the shower. These are with me on a hike.
When I'm taking a poop.
Exactly.
These are with
right
me.
here, right here. my hands, my feet, unless they outlaw that, and everyone's walking around, snapped up, then, I mean, the martial arts are a very, very beautiful thing.
I don't know. I feel like, I don't know, man. People who own guns for self-defense reasons, they should have to train at least once a year for a couple of hours on it,
Of
if
course.
not twice a year or something
Right.
like that. Maybe to get like I don't know, maybe they could have like a register where it's
Right.
something that you have to do if
Right.
you own this gun or
Right.
something like that.
Almost like the belt system in martial arts. But
Right.
yeah, it is definitely true because number one, it's going to teach them discipline. Number two, it's going to show them how to properly not just injure someone else or potentially injure themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And number three, there'll be, I mean, gunfighting is a martial art in itself. You know, there are plenty of courses where you can go, not just to the range. A lot of people say, well, I go and I train at the range. I'm like, but that's not a live situation.
Right.
That's like me hitting a heavy bag
Yeah.
and saying, cool, I know how to fight. No, you don't. You know how to hit the heavy bag.
Yeah, it's not punching back.
That's right. That's right. I was like, what happens if someone grabs you? You know, what happens if you can't get it out on time? You know, you want to be aware.
Yeah, practice those situations constantly. Yeah, it's not just buying a gun. God.
Of course.
But all right, man. Thank you so much for joining me today.
No,
That was awesome.
It was
really
great.
cool.
The time flew by. I was like, man, what am I going to say for an hour? But it was great.
I make it happen.
Nah,
So,
this guy's good.
you got Ring Lords, Vale Todo, and then you got Songblade Company here in. The gym is in Cary, North Carolina.
Yes, I'm very,
right?
very fortunate. I own my own home, and my gym is a detached building that's a good 100 feet from my house.
Nice.
I have no
That's very
excuse to
cool.
get fat or not train.
Yeah. And then Songblade Company is where located?
At the Raleigh Fairgrounds Flea Market inside the Education Building. There's the most popular shop at the fairgrounds. It's right across from me. Cell phone accessories. So just ask people, where can I find the cell phone accessories? You'll find me too.
Nice. All right, man. Cool. And I'll put all of that in the description below for the podcast listeners. Where can they find you? And where can they find your gym?
If you can find me on Facebook. My personal page is just Adam Song.
That's
just
like
it says.
song, music?
Yes,
Song?
SONG. I got this so much when I was a kid. Song and dance.
Song and dance. Nice. There you go.
We're also our weapon shop, Songblade Company, is also on Facebook. You can find us there. Also, if you look under YouTube, Adam Song MMA, you'll see we have over 1,800 video clips online of random sparring clips and training clips and a lot of technique clips.
Very cool.
So if you're somewhere far away, if you, like I said, I just got the biggest compliment in the world. A guy from Indonesia said we watch your videos. So that's cool.
Nice.
Then you can always follow us there.
Very cool, man. Awesome. Thank you so much.
No, it was my pleasure, my friend.
Awesome. And thank you again for the gift, man.
Of course.
That's
That's a
I'm
gift.
gonna hang that up.
Yeah, that's a gift, but that's also I want you to come. I want you to come train.
Yeah. That's an entrepreneur right there. Right here.
I don't charge him. This is very much honored me. It was a lot of fun.
It was an honor for me, man. Thank you so much. And if you want to find out more, I'm definitely putting all of the information in the description below. Other than that, until next time, thank you guys.
Next time.